we know currently that a lot of variation in drug response, patients, some drugs work, some don't work, and some are toxic. It's not just because of simple dosages, that we all have common genetic differences in kind of different combinations. And sometimes when a certain drug is prescribed, the body's unable to process it properly due to genetic differences in the genes that process those drugs. So it is possible actually now to almost in real time, as little as a couple hours now, to be able to look at our patient's genetic makeup, figure out what their genetic makeup means for certain kind of medications or combinations of medications, and use that to kind of make decisions in real time so that you're not sort of going to the doctor multiple times to kind of play with the dose or adjust the dose, right?
Let me ask you about that. What is the process now or has been in the past with getting the proper dosage for a patient?
Yeah.
It could take quite a while.
Yeah, no, you can imagine, right? And most of our patients are used to the fact you go to the doctor's office, a medication is prescribed, and you already know it could work or it might not work.
Right.
So when it doesn't work or when it's toxic, you go back to the doctor and he thinks of maybe a different dosage, maybe a different alternative, and then you try this iterative over and over again, right? Whereas with a personalized genomics approach, if we know certain diseases or treatments are needed and certain class of medications could be used, we would look at your genetic makeup for the key genes that are involved in how the drugs are processed. And by testing for that, we should be able to now, in as little as a few hours, figure out what you need and then provide that feedback almost in real time.
Right.
And for some conditions that are very severe, if you're getting chemotherapy, I think you'd like to know.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah,
really.
You don't have the kind of time to also know if it's working too well, not well enough.
Right.
You want the right dose.
And did you ever think, I mean, you mentioned you've been working here for over a decade. You came from Vanderbilt. Did you ever think we'd be at this point where in a couple hours you could figure out the right dosage, the right medication?
No, I think a part of it, I guess maybe a decade ago we were hopeful, but we knew genomics technology was moving rapidly,
Right.
Now you can sequence people's genome in days, when back in the old days it took years, right? So this kind of almost like computer-like leaps in technology, coupled with the fact now we now know much more about how our body handles medications, then it basically said to us, we got to get the process and kind of figure out what are the components needed to provide real-time care.
Right.
And then leverage the technology advances. So we're at a kind of a really good intersection, where technical advances plus now our ability to really figure out how we can use that in patient care. And so I think for us, the real advantage has been we have almost a decade of experience drug by drug and how we interact with our patients, how we provide care. And then for us, we also have, I think, ability to figure out what is a truly urgent problem versus something that could take a couple of weeks or even days, right? For the truly urgent problem, what we think is mission critical, it is not uncommon for our team from blood to results in under 2 hours.
Wow.
Because we fear of if there's a devastating potential, we want to make sure that doesn't happen or kind of say, well, that can happen. Because if you have the ability to kind of peer into our patient's genetic makeup and get the drug right, I think it's a huge gain because they'll come to the hospital less, reduce length of stay, and hopefully avoid, possibly even deaths.